everybody, I'm Stephanie and welcome to Master Lessons Sensei Speaks. Today our panel of guests include Hanshi Jack Turner that is, who started in the martial arts in 1979. He's been teaching since 1985. He's an 8th degree and the senior instructor for United Studios of Self-Defense. He's also a father of 3 children who are 22, 10 years old, and 3. We also have Master Deric Terrell. He has been practicing the martial arts for 31 years, since 1985 as well, teaching in the martial arts of Shaolin Kempo for 27 years. He's also a health coach and a former Marine and a father of 2, both 21 and 19. To round out our esteemed panel, we have Sensei Trent. He's been practicing in the martial arts for 33 years, since he was, 10 years old, and instructing in the art of Shaolin Kempo since 1993. He was also a minor league baseball player and also helped to run an international real estate agency. He's a father of 3 as well. He's got a 15-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 2-year-old. Our topic today is on consistency. And honestly, fellas, I could not think of a better group based on your biographies of who would be able to discuss the relevance of consistency at home, at school, in our workplace than you guys. So I have my first question is for Jack. Why is consistency truly the key to success in any given area of our lives? We talk about setting a goal. We talk about following through with that goal. We talk about the persistence that is required to stick with that goal. But then I think it gets harder because suddenly we're faced with, okay, now I have to do it every day. It's that consistency.
The consistency has to become a habit in your life. And just like any activity, when you do something, the daily habits you do reflect your success because they're going to keep you in a certain pattern in your life. If you're going to be consistent in business, time management is very, very important towards that consistency as well. And so those positive habits you have, maybe exercising in the morning, maybe getting certain things done at certain times of the day help you stay on that right path towards success. So we have to be consistent just whether we're at our business or whether we're at school or whether we're working out. We just have to continue those so they become a habit in our life.
Now you have a 22-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 3-year-old. So that's kind of a spread. How has consistency in your parenting skills affected your life and your children's life? How does consistency help?
Well, I think it builds a strong foundation towards their lives and understanding, life is all about, habits. Mm-hmm. And success, whether it's schoolings for your children or whether it's after-school activities. If you develop good, strong habits in those children, and I also, show them those habits by the way I act and what I do in my life, they understand, keys to success, whether it's like my 22-year-old, she's a hairdresser. She graduated high school. She decided that she needed a career in her life that she wanted. She was passionate about hair, and I encouraged her, whatever path she does, but I taught her the habits of being consistent in life, and then she was able to move out of the state because she had the tools it needed to be successful, and that's why she's on her own, 22 years old.
Wow. Deric, what is it about keeping consistent that is so difficult for many of us? I mean, today is an age of I can do whatever I want whenever I want. It seems like we start something, we stop it. We start a program, we end it. We start a diet, we end it. We often take our kids from activity to activity to activity, and they're all getting so used to starting something and saying, I don't really like it. I think I'm going to move on to something else. Yet consistency is so relevant in the success of all of us as adults. Why do you think it's so difficult?
I think it really comes down to a choice, and I think it comes down to everybody's own personal philosophy of what it takes to not stumble, or what it takes to get past that stumbling block to get to success, to be consistent in whatever it is they want to reach, whatever goal it is they want to get. So it comes down to that personal philosophy. Like, for example, my personal philosophy is no matter what. So I've got to be successful in everything that I do in my life, no matter what. So there's a lot of families, a lot of people that are trying to, better themselves with a better skill, a talent, jobs, work, exercise, lose weight, whatever it is. Sometimes they go into those things without the proper philosophy. So if they go into the gym and they want to lose that 1 pound or 2 pounds or 3 pounds or whatever it is, they didn't set themselves up right. They just went in there thinking, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to feel good after, and I don't see the results, and usually people quit. So it comes down to that philosophy of no matter what. No matter what the culture tells you, no matter what society says, no matter what people around you say, it has to come down deep inside from your own heart and your passion and say, you know what? No matter what, I am going to succeed.
Now, on that note, you can say no matter what, and you can keep that consistency, and I can go to the gym and I can think that's my philosophy no matter what. But how do you also keep it engaging? Because remember, whether it's good health, whether it's staying in a position in your company long term, whether it's raising more than one child of different ages, how do you keep it where you're continually engaged, you keep that passion? Because everyone can have a passion for a short period of time.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
How do you maintain a passion of any of the above that I mentioned over the long haul?
Right. So over the long haul, you've got to have your goals written down. I think that's top number one. You've got to have those goals written down. They got to be visual. You've got to see them every single day, because those are going to be reminders. And hopefully that we're hanging around people that are like-minded. So if we can get around people that are like-minded and have the same desires, same goals, same end result in mind, that's definitely going to help you be more successful.
I think mentorship is a key to
Mentorship, yes.
To anything that's successful. Someone's doing something you want. You need to be around that person. You need to pick that person's brain as well. And mentorship is a key also towards success and consistency, because those people are successful. They usually have the right tools in place already. And if you can emulate that mentor, that's going to also.
Right, yeah, I agree.
Like not trying to always go it alone.
Correct.
Exactly, right. But if you are alone, if that happens, you've got to have those goals written down. You've got to have them in front of your face every single day. And you've got to remember why you started in the first place. And that's one of my philosophies is why? Why did I start doing what I did? And if I start to get off track, and then if I don't have any other accountability, I've got to go, why did I start? What was the reason why I even did this in the first place? And I've got to get back to that foundation to help me move forward.
So you're a health coach, so you obviously have to maintain consistency with your health.
Right.
So what can you tell the viewers watching this? Yes, we've got the no matter what. Yes, you've got the goals written down. What is another aspect of your philosophy that continually makes you get up in the morning at the crack of dawn, go work out, make sure that you're eating properly, and just maintaining your health in general?
Yeah, so for me, it was when I wasn't healthy. I had high cholesterol. I was a bit overweight and had no energy. But now that I have all that, I can go back and I can see the changes that were made, and I can physically see them and I can physically feel them. But for the person, you have to really understand that when you start to do something, you're not going to see that result right away. So to stay consistent, to keep moving forward, it's like what I call a hidden result. If you get up early and you go work out and you go back and look in the mirror, there's no result. But the result is that you went. And you've got to stay positive and focused on that and say, okay, that was a result. And then the next day, you change your habit on eating, one day at a time. But then again, is if you have the philosophy of saying, well, if I don't do that tomorrow, is it going to hurt me tomorrow? Or if I don't do it the next day, is it going to hurt me the next day or the next week? And the answer is no. But over time, it's going to hurt you. And that's what keeps me going, is I know that there's end result that I have to get to.
Trent, you have 3 children. As I said earlier, 15, 10, and 2. How do you teach them consistency? What do you say when you have your child come to you and say, Dad, you played baseball, I want to play baseball. And then he plays baseball for about a month and he realizes he absolutely or she hates baseball. And then, you know what, I think I want to learn piano. And you want to embrace that as a parent. We all want to encourage our child and make sure we find things that they like. And then they decide, I don't want to play the piano anymore. And then they pick another goal. And you want to be supportive, but you also want them to understand that consistency in life is important. What do you tell your children or the parents that come to your school about that?
The most important thing when it comes to consistency is, like these 2 gentlemen have already said, is goals. So you have, your kids that come in and they want to try baseball, or they want to try piano, or they want to try martial arts. When I have somebody that comes into my dojo, I let the parents know that this isn't a sport. This is something that you have to commit to for a period of time to see any type of results. And consistency is not about instant results. It's about baby steps. Everything that we do in the martial arts is baby steps. You start off one day and you can't do a push-up, but 2 months later you're doing 25 push-ups. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens through baby steps. Whether it's a 5-year-old child that you're trying to teach them a correct punch, or it's a 67-year-old adult who's got bad back and bad knees who say they can't do a squat. Well, they can. It's just a process. Their squat will be different than a 18-year-old squat. But eventually, over time, that 67-year-old will be able to get into a deep squat if it's done correctly and we do baby steps. And that's what I try to instill in my students and my parents and my kids is that, look, you're going to go try baseball. You're not going to be able to hit the ball right away. You're not going to be able to catch the ball right away. We need to practice and we need to keep working on it. You can't expect instant results when you are trying something. You need to do it. And when you do it, you need to commit to it. And commitment is the key to success. We're talking about health, right? Well, he'll be the first one to tell you, if you don't commit to that goal, you're setting yourself up for failure automatically. You have to commit. It's, New Year's resolutions, everybody talks about it all the time. Oh, I'm going to do this. And that works for a week. And then you get back to your old routine. You got to truly want to do something and commit to it. And then when you commit to that, then consistency can become a habit because it becomes a passion for you. And and if you understand going into that it's about baby steps, not instant results, I think you'll see that commitment is a little bit easier than if you just automatically expect a huge result right away. Like he was saying, you go to the gym and you lift weights and you go back to the mirror and you look the same. Well, if that is your concept of what's going to happen, then you'll never get to your end result. You got to baby step everything that you do. And as you baby step it, you slowly climb that ladder. And before you know it, you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, I'm like the Hulk,
Right.
So yeah, that's what I try to get my kids to understand is whether, my kids love to draw. They love to draw. So we'll spend time, and my 10-year-old is absolutely amazing. And my 15-year-old is amazing in his way. He likes to draw dragons and medieval time stuff. And my 10-year-old, I mean, she is what I would consider more of a traditional artist. She can create stuff. I mean, my son can draw dragons really well, but you know, is one better than the other? No, but they spent a lot of time on that paper. Writing it, drawing something, erasing it, drawing something, erasing it. And I relate that to them in the sense of, look, that took you a long time to be able to do that, but you didn't quit at it. You kept going. Okay. And consistency, that's where you gain consistency, is through your commitment. You can't just randomly one day go, I want to be a black belt. It just doesn't work that way.
Now, Jack, you're in 8th degree. You've earned the title of Hanshi, which just is such an accomplishment in this field. Have you ever reached a point, though, since you started at an early age, I think it was 11?
Started, yes.
Yes, 11 years old. Did you ever feel at any point you hit a wall, or you just wanted to quit or just take a break?
Many times. There's many times in someone's life, especially when you've done something for so long, that you feel you've hit that plateau or that wall. And sometimes by changing my habits and changing the way who I hang out with, may also give me some new motivation to continue on my journey. I always feel I have never reached my full potential in many different aspects of my life. But sometimes just changing that habit a little bit will give me some new motivation, or maybe I can look at a different situation from a different angle and go, oh, I need to work on this, or I need to work on that. And so I find that is something I'm always trying to achieve, is to build my, trying to always use my potential at its fullest. And maybe it's just me, but I never feel like I have yet. I'm still growing.
How about for all three of you are not only successful as martial artists, but also three very successful businessmen with outstanding schools and a great deal of students. How have you personally applied consistency in your life that makes you the top in your field as far as business goes and successful at your schools?
Patience. To me, patience is one of the biggest things for me, because I've got 3 kids, so I got to be a dad. And I've got all the emotions that run through being a dad, disciplining my kids and doing birthday parties and trying to be as much of a dad as possible. But then you go into that dojo and then you have to teach little Cindy, who's 3 years old. And then right after that, you got to teach Mike, who's 52. And then right after that, you have your autistic child and every single person that you teach, you have to mentally change your mindset to teach them. And as an instructor, you should always have expectations for your students. They should all be the same. Your expectations should be the stars for every single one of your students, regardless of their abilities and disabilities. But the only way they get to the stars is if you stay consistent on what that ultimate goal is. You teach them how to throw a correct punch one day, and the next day they come in and they're not throwing it the right way again. Well, you can either accept that's good for them, or you can continue to show patience with them and then recorrect them again, get them dialed in again, because over time, if you have the patience, the end result is amazing. One day you'll have that 4-year-old get their black belt. They might be 15 years old, they're going to get that black belt, and it's taking pride in your individual student and your business and what your school represents. And patience is a big part of staying consistent, because if not, you accept mediocrity, and that's not fair to your students. That's not fair to your family, since you're running a business, and it's not fair to yourself. You got to take pride in what you do, and you got to have a passion for it. I mean, all these guys will tell you, you got to have a passion, and for me, my passion is my students. I want them to be absolutely amazing. And I don't care how old they are, but it comes with patience. You have to have patience. And we all know, having kids, we have bad days. We go into the dojo, we may not want to be there, but our students don't care. They're there for us. And then that parent comes in and talks about how their kid's doing bad in school, and we got to be that professional listener and try to help guide them to get better at school. And then you have, the other one graduating from high school, and you're excited for them. You have these emotional roller coasters, and you go in every day and you put on the good face. And if we do our job right, we show patience, we baby step. Every day we get better and better. Our students get better and better, which means our business gets better and better. The minute we accept that that's good for you, then we start to go downhill, because no one gets anywhere flatlining. You just go downhill from flatlining.
Jack, what is your thoughts on that
Well,
and your business?
one thing I find, in my business is I learn a lot from my students and my parents on things that I find help me with success. And the consistency of encouragement is also a key, I find, to a lot of success. My students that make it to black belt have the parents that stand behind them and encourage them, even when things are down. Maybe they've had a bad week and they are not learning a lot. I do have, sometimes someone will come in and the parent will say to me, well, he's tried baseball, he's tried soccer, he's tried this, and he's tried that. And the key element sometimes that they're missing is children need guidance. And so do we. To be consistent in our life, we need guidance too. And we need someone consistently behind us to encourage us to continue. Because sometimes we can come down on ourselves. And same with kids. Sometimes they come down on themselves and they want to quit something. And if the parent allows that, they're actually building a bad habit into that child. They're teaching that child, we have a saying in the martial arts, failure is only when you quit. So no matter how many times you fail at something, if you get up and do it again, keep doing it again, you will succeed eventually. But sometimes parents give in to the child's will rather than guiding them, and keep that consistent guidance, because that helps make people successful in life. Whether it's with their health, whether it's with their business, whether it's with their school, those parents that are encouraging and are consistently behind that person, they're the support that they need. That has a key factor in success. So,
Deric, do you find that so far we've discussed keeping an eye on really the why of what you're doing? Do you think in business that it is, regardless of whether it's martial arts, it could be anything, it could be any line of work, it could be any type of business. Do you think that if, as Jack and Trent were saying, they're focusing on the why of what they're doing instead of the bottom line, do you believe in that? Do you believe that philosophy as well? Do you believe, hey, you know what, if I build it, they will come. If I focus on this, they will come? Because a lot of us adults that are business owners, we are just looking at that statement and just trying to think of how I'm going to keep things afloat, keep things going, and we tend to lose perspective on what we're doing.
Right. Yeah, I really believe that. I got to take a quote from Jim Rohn. Is that we work harder on ourselves. You know, we work harder on ourselves, more on ourselves than we do our jobs. It's going to make that our job that much easier to work harder on ourselves than we do on our jobs. So that's going to make our jobs that much more successful. You know, no matter what business you run, no matter whatever it is that you're doing, whatever skill that you're trying to be good at and be successful at, you have to be able to run or wear many hats. And so even what we do to be successful and to be better, again, work harder on ourselves than we do our jobs, we have to become even just that more attractive to people. So we've got to work harder on ourselves. We've got to make sure our passion is clear, our desire is clear, and our why. We've got to remember why we are doing what we do, no matter what field you're doing. The more attractive you become, the more people you're going to be able to attract.
All right, final question. This may be one of the hardest, so I'm gonna throw that to Trent first, and then have everyone take a moment to let us know that if you had to pick the top 3 things in life that you feel the people at home watching should be consistent with, what would you think they should be? What would you advise people? You can't be consistent at everything under the sun. You know, what are the most important areas in life to truly focus on that? Focus on your why and be consistent.
For me, I would, like I said earlier, patience is paramount, because we all have bad days, and it's easy to just have squirrel moments when we're not patient with what's going on in life. You know, we need to be patient with everybody, our kids, our significant others, our students, because we are in a people business. And the other thing is passion or pride in what you do. Taking pride in your students, having a passion for the martial arts or whatever business you're doing, I think is hugely important. You know, we've all heard people say, do what you love. Love what you do. And if you love what you do, when you do go through those days where you're burnt out, you can always fall back on that. You can always go, I love doing what I do. I wear pajamas to work every day, and I get to watch people grow, become stronger individuals, whether it be physically, mentally, or emotionally. And that's what keeps me going every day. The other thing is I would say organization. Organization is huge, because you get up in the morning and you have, especially when you're running a business, you have a lot of different things you have to do. And when you're running a school and you're teaching, you're wearing a lot of different hats. And if you don't organize your day, you get up in the morning, you do X, Y, and Z before you start teaching, then you always forget about X, Y, and Z. And then you wonder why things aren't moving forward. You need to stay organized. So I would say definitely patience, passion and pride, and organization would probably be the things that I think are most important for me. Because I know when I fall off any of those wagons, things don't move forward for me.
Deric?
For me personally, you know, I like to think of it as like a triangle, or even a stool with 3 legs. If you take one of those legs away, the stool is going to fall and whatever's on it. So if you're trying to balance all this, that, and the other, but your firm foundation is not there, everything's going to fall apart, no matter how hard you try to keep it together by yourself. So for me, God comes first. So if He's not first, then my family is not going to work out the way I want it to work out, and my business ain't going to work out. It's not the way it's going to I want it to work out, and everything else is just going to fall apart. So that's for me personally. But so whatever that is for our viewers, it's you've got to stay focused on whatever it is that is like your table that has 3 legs. Okay, you got to keep all 3 legs stable, and you got to figure out what that focal point is, and let nothing touch it. Let nothing destroy that focal point of why you're doing what it is that you're doing, because of your drive, of your passion, of your heart, and your desire to get it done. And if you lose focus on that top priority, everything else is going to fall by the wayside.
Jack?
Okay. Myself, there are a few things. My spiritual belief is important. What I believe in is consistent in here. For me, my philosophical and moral beliefs are very important as well. I think that's also a foundation I have. But also my habits that I do on a daily basis help me stay consistent in my success. You know, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, whether that is in business, whether that is in many aspects. So not only is it just a belief, but I have to actually physically do the things I do on a daily basis to make sure my life is successful. So those are probably the three things that are very important in my life.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I know you guys are really busy. And I know I appreciate, I'm sure everybody else at home appreciates the time and just the wealth of experience and insight that you can lend through your years of being a martial artist, being professional, and just being successful, not only in your business life, but also in your personal lives as well. So thank you so very much for taking that time out to talk to everybody today.